say that feminism is something that is very new and therefore it is illegitimate and is therefore collapsing our societies and our communities. Now, remember I said unwavering, unrelenting pursuit to equity. Equity is not a word that exists in a vacuum. There's a history behind that and why we are pursuing it. Before colonization, European women were being harassed and mistreated by white European men. They were not allowed to vote, they had no sexual and reproductive health and rights, they could not go to school, they could not own property, they could not have any identity outside of their husbands and their marriages. So when colonization spread across the African continent and across the world for that matter, the mistake that people make is thinking that it just spread racial discrimination. No, it did not. It took with it everything else that was already sophisticated within the European society, one of which being classism, sexism, and misogyny. So when we then come to the colonial or colonized territories of the world, it is not just racial discrimination that we experience, but misogyny. And for us African women sitting here, all of us women of color here, we experience another layer called the misogynoir, which is the unfair discrimination against a human being based on the premise of both their race and their sex. We experience multiple layers of oppression as women. And until we are willing to interrogate the fact that many of the systemic violence that we experience in our society are remnants of colonization, until we accept that, we are not going to move forward. I'll speak about the South African case. In South Africa, what we did are two things, and very likely also in other colonial parts of colonized parts of Africa. Number one, the dismembering of African families for economic exploitation and capitalism. Number two, it was the reinforcement of ideologies such as eugenics and the weaponization of legal systems, economic systems, educational systems, healthcare systems, and academia to push the agenda against our African families. Those are the two critical areas that when you assess our laws and our policies, if they are not speaking to those things, they are